Okay, so I think we are all set now. The note taker that had come on earlier gave us the instruction that we were recording. So for posterity, I'm Rebecca Snyder. I'm the Executive Director of Executive Alliance, and we're talking about the Effective Impact Mentoring Program. And this is a program I think that's really unique to our area because it focuses on you as an individual. So regardless of industry, regardless of company, our program really looks for women at the sort of the mid-level of their career. Maybe you're feeling a little stuck, not quite sure how to hit that C-suite level or get a sort of go where you really want to go, and gives you some of the professional development tools, but more importantly, helps you in your relationship building so you can get to the next level. So just the basics. Executive Alliance is a membership organization dedicated to senior level executive women that honestly wants to take our rightful place at the highest levels of leadership. So women's representation sadly lags on the corporate board level and the C-suite level in public companies in Maryland. Also, in many private companies, it's an upward struggle, and we find, excuse me, that women, and historically research shows that women at the mid-level of their career have so many challenges that they face. In some ways they're being pulled by their family obligations, by their professional aspirations, and just feeling like, is it all worth it? And so this program is designed to help you kind of articulate what you want and then put the skills in place to reach that next level. So for us, it's really it's super helpful. I know some of you have come from organizations that have sent mentees to us in the past. But first off, does that make sense to you? Do you have sort of any questions about the high level overview of what we're doing? Great, because it's pretty straightforward. It's all about you. So it's a 9-month program. It is application based, and so our applications are on a rolling deadline. And the first sort of tranche closes May 15th, and we keep our applications open until our class has the diversity that we're looking for and the size we're looking for. So when you go through our mentoring program, it's a cohort of women from all different industries. And if we look at the current class right now, and I'm going to put our, actually, I'll show you our mentees from previous worlds. And a lot of what we're going to look at is on our website. So I'm going to put that in the chat. And that's executivealliance.org/mentoring. I'm going to quick share my screen so that you can see what we're doing. Share. And here we are in, this was the information session at the header here. And so this provides more information about the program. So really we're going to have, we limit the program to about 8 to 12 women. So it's a cohort. And I'm scrolling down super quick just to show that we do list all of our mentees going back to the inception of the program, which is in the time machine of 2009. So we've been doing this for a really long time and have graduated about over 200 women from the program. So in our 2023-24 class, we had Whiting Turner, Tidings and Rosenberg, Johns Hopkins University, Siena, nonprofits like Enterprise Community Partners, accountants, CQ had some representation, IT. Really, it's a gamut. The Maryland Health Benefit Exchange. So we have a mix of nonprofits, private companies, professional services. The Applied Physics Lab, always an interesting group because they work in such strongly dominated male fields. So you can sort of get a sense of who our mentees have been in the past. And I really want to kind of focus on the philosophy of what we do. And I'm going to scroll here. I've got actually a much prettier slide or sheet to show you here about our program dates, and we'll kind of step through the program. Before we do that, I wanted to give you a sense of how we structure this. So the program is made up of 8 professional development sessions, half-day sessions, so from 2 to 5, usually on a Thursday. You can see the dates in that little tiny print, but we'll get it bigger in just a second. And we approach this as kind of a spiral learning. So whenever you're about to make sort of a leap, I sort of feel like you are first taking a self-inventory, you're discerning what's important to you, you're assessing your strengths and your skills, and then you're kind of packaging and formulating, okay, what do I want to put out in the world? What do I want to show about myself? Where are those opportunities? And then you're kind of in some ways like campaigning for it. Like you're saying, okay, these are opportunities, this is what I want to do. And then hopefully you're achieving, and you start that process all over again of, excelling, taking care of yourself, and then realizing, gosh, there's another gap. There's another thing I want to do. And that process starts all over again. And so I think that's applicable sort of wherever you are. If you're looking for your very first job, that's the same sort of process as when you're at the mid-level of your career and thinking, how am I going to get to that next level? And it all really starts with you. And so our program is kind of designed in that way. And now that you've all leaned in and tried to see that really small print, I'm going to bring this up a little bit. These are our session dates for the next year. So we start in August. Our goal is that at the end of the program, you've developed strong relationships with your cohort. And we know that that happens because people still are connecting with their cohorts and their fellow mentees years after the program. They stay in touch with their mentors as well. So we want you to deepen your relationship with you and with yourself and others. We want you to have more self-awareness about how you show up in the workplace and in your own life. And we want you to have a clearer sense of your needs and your areas of growth and your areas of strength to fuel and nurture your career. Essentially, Executive Alliance as an organization really leans into the idea that we all have something to give, we all have something to receive, and that in some ways, the world is set up to make women feel bad about themselves, and we're not going to take part in that. We really want to approach from a position of identifying strengths, playing to strengths, and thinking about the positives, which is not to say that we are Pollyanna-ish. Like we're very clear-eyed about the challenges that women face. And we want to create a support and a mechanism for you to feel like you have what you need to achieve your goals. I'm going to take a breath for a moment and check in. Does that make sense to you? Is there anything that you wanted to bring up or talk about at that point? All right, so then let's talk about sort of what the spiral learning really means. And so we start off in August with getting to know yourself. We do a great values exercise where you're really identifying what your top values are and what's important to you. And that kind of sets the stage going forward, because if you don't know yourself, then it's just confusing. It's difficult. So we then, and we also team you with your mentor. So after that first session, when we get to sort of know you individually a little bit more, we will team you with a specific mentor that's drawn from our membership. And it's a good opportunity now to take a step back and say, well, who's an Executive Alliance? What's all this about? And so if you've gone to our website, you can see our directory is under About Us, EA directory, a list of all of our members. And so when you're a mentor in our program, and yes. Like, oh no, it looks blurry, but you can see exactly who our members are and a little bit about them. But they're senior level executive women from all different walks of life and professional experience. And so through the through the application process, you're going to tell us a little bit about what you want out of your mentoring relationship. And then we go kind of back to the nest and we think, who's going to be the best fit? Who's going to share the information that you need and be a good resource for you? So, and that can look, that can be a variety of things. And we've had mentees who just been like, I want to have more professional women friends so that when I go to events, I don't feel lonely and in the corner. And so we teamed that person with someone who was a master networker. You know, some people want to know more about. We have someone who is very active and has her own sort of brings an energy and a bubbly excitement about some nonprofit things that she's doing. So we've teamed her with someone who's a nonprofit professional who kind of understands what it is to work in that world. So our goal when we team you with a mentor is that you're going to develop a relationship that lasts with someone who can be an advisor and really help you in your goal setting. It's not therapy, it's not a coach, it is truly a mentor. So we talk a little bit in the program about what it means to have a mentor and what that how that can work for you. So we team you and your mentor at the end of August, and we always have some ideas going into the program on who we're going to match, but we like to see the whites of your eyes first before we make that final mentee-mentor match. Then we continue that spiral with strength finders. This is part of the self-assessment side of things. You know your values, sort of a little bit more about what you want. We do the strength finders assessment, and you get to know a little bit more about what you bring to the table. And oftentimes people, like they have an idea, they think they're good at this, that, and the other, but it's really clarifying to see all that straight out. And then we team that with a dinner with your mentors at the Center Club. So it's a great kickoff for the program. In October, we continue that journey of self-discovery with one-on-one coaching sessions with our Strength Finders coach so that you can really look at your assessment and say, okay, how is this working for me? And how am I navigating in the workplace? October brings the first of Executive Alliance's signature events, which is our Women of Excellence event. That is 600 of our closest friends listening to an inspiring speaker in sort of a fireside chat format. And at all of our signature events, of which there are 3, we invite our mentees to really participate. So we get that it might be a little overwhelming. You're not quite sure how to navigate through. So we ask our mentees if they want to volunteer for registration. That gives you a specific thing to do, and it also gives you a purpose, and then you go into the session. Our other signature events, we just finished with our honor roll event, which I know a couple of you were, your companies were honored as part of our honor roll. That's an event that celebrates companies that have at least 30% of their C-suite and 30% of their board of directors identify as women. So it's a 2-factor test there. And then our third, and again, all of our mentees are invited to participate in the event. It's great networking. This year, one of our mentees was on our panel. So we do try and tap our mentees where it's appropriate for different things. And then our third signature event is in May. It's coming up. It's called In the Room Mentoring, and it's essentially for ambitious women of all levels, small group mentoring sessions, and we invite and strongly encourage each of our mentees to be a mentor at that event. So it's a little, I think sometimes people get a little nervous, like, oh my gosh, what would I have to say? What would I have to do? But it's all part of that. You have something to receive and you have something to give, and we will support you in that. So our signature events are something that we want our mentees to participate in. So after and we sort of feel like August, September, October, That's your voyage of self-discovery and revelation. And then we start to think about, okay, you know who you are, what you want, what you bring to the table. Let's start packaging that. So in November, we talk about personal branding. So you now are kind of solidified on the message that you want to put out there or the brand that you want to put out in the world. How do you do that? Do you start to raise your professional visibility through social media channels or through LinkedIn? Do you maybe look for industry events that you can speak at? You know, however that looks to you, we want to be able to support that. And then we take that deep breath. You're all invited to our holiday party in December, but we don't have strict programming in December because who has the time? It's like the busiest month of the year. In January, sort of new year, new you, we take that deep breath and we start to think about how you're pushing out into the world. So we do a great session on negotiation, where oftentimes, especially if you've been at a company for a while, it can be difficult to negotiate your next step up within that company. It can be worrisome or difficult to do that for an outside agency. So we work on negotiating, really around compensation, but this is our tools that you can use really anywhere. And then we focus, our February session tends to be, our March session now is our wild card session. And so throughout the year, we kind of think, what do our mentees need? Oh, and we have someone entering the waiting room. So we'll pause while she comes in. Welcome. I think it was Alona, right? Um, you're, I think she'll come in. And so in February, we really talk about networking and interviewing. Oftentimes, even the pandemic kind of threw us all for a whirl. I know I'm still half feral, coming out of that. And when we go to networking events and outside, sort of outside our comfort zone sometimes, women or people in general tend to freeze up. And so we really talk about strategies around networking, what that is, how to also sculpt the network you want rather than the network that you kind of organically have. And then our wildcard session is flex based on what people need. This year, what we're doing right now is inclusive leadership, because that's what our mentees have said that they've needed and wanted. And then we also we finish up the year with things like presenting your best self. So you're learning how to articulate your presentations in a more professional, effective manner, how to speak in front of groups. And we also then do a little headshot and social so that, again, we want you to take in the information and then implement it. So we do have happy hours and things that you're coming to kind of build those relationships and skills. And then we finish up, and woo, that was a quick 9 months. And we have our capstone session on how to be your own mentor. So you're advocating for yourself, you're figuring out, all right, what am I going to do at this point? How am I going to work through? And woven through all of these programs and professional development sessions, you're meeting with your mentor. And that can look whatever way is most comfortable for the both of you. Some people meet for coffee, some people do Zooms. We encourage you to meet with your mentor at least once a month because you want to get this relationship to a point where it's natural. It's, you are working with someone and going back and forth. So we think overall that the commitment to the program over that 9 months is about 50 hours when you take into account the professional development sessions, what you're doing with your mentor, and sort of the wraparound pieces that you can use. We finish up with a celebration, a graduation in June that you're encouraged to invite anyone you like to join, where we really celebrate the growth that's happened over the year. You have an opportunity to kind of share and say what you'd like to say about the program and your development. And so it's often it's just a really rewarding time to hear about how you all have affected and impacted your cohort and looking ahead to see what's next. So that I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and I'm going to stop talking for a moment because I want to hear from you all in terms of what you're looking for out of a mentoring program, if you have questions, and how I can be most helpful.
I think I'm questioning, maybe I want this mentoring program for two things, to improve my situation where I am as an IT program director, and then also the side gig of this Read With Me program I'd like to start.
Yeah.
I see applications for both, but I think we have to choose one or the other. And I don't know that the reading program is really what y'all are normally looking to do.
So I would say, in terms of like the nuts and bolts help of getting a program off the ground, that's probably out of the scope of the mentoring program. I think if you're looking to start a nonprofit, what I would also recommend is look deeply around you to see if there truly is a gap in the marketplace. It is a lot of time, effort, work. If it's your sort of side hobby that you want to do something, that's one thing. But if you're getting volunteers, if you're getting funding, if you're getting a program, that's a huge lift. And it's always good to look around and say, is there somewhere, like, does it have to be me? Or is there a program that I can help support? Or is there a school that I can adopt to kind of do some of this already? So I would certainly look there. Maryland Nonprofits, Heather Iliff, who's the CEO there, is a member of Executive Alliance. Maryland Nonprofits has a great program on like literally how to start a nonprofit. So we like to, I think in anywhere you go in the world, you kind of have to discern, well, why is it me? Like what do I have that's unique? So we want to support others where we can and say, go here if you need this and refer out. So that might be specifically for that program, I would refer out. Yeah.
So I just literally heard about this alliance yesterday when the email popped up in my inbox.
Yeah.
So I'm just here to investigate. So I'm thinking seriously, like the way to best use this resource would be for my current job, because I'm not retiring anytime soon. So I can look to grow that way. So
Yeah. And honestly, I don't think anybody is right now. So it's one of those
I'm gonna
things,
work till I'm 110.
Well, hopefully you can, stop at 105. But so Jamie had a question about financial aid and so the economic details. So the program is $2,900 for the year. Some mentees pay that out of pocket. More usually, it's their company that's paying that. If there is a financial hardship, we do take that on a case-by-case basis. So Jamie, for you, and we do ask for a sliding scale. I don't think we ever have a situation where it's completely covered, just because we want our mentees and the companies that provide support to take the commitment seriously. It's a lift on all of our parts. And so certainly think about what might be good for you. And we also, for some people, especially if they're paying out of pocket, we can do payment plans. We can do all sorts of things. We want to, as much as we're able, to remove cost as a barrier. Linnea, what question do you have?
So while you were talking, I was on the website and I was just going to ask, what does the application process, the application that's what does it entail? I know it's like 21 different slide. So not sure if there's essays or things like that. So if you could just talk about what the application process is.
Sure. And so a little, it's just a jot form, and it's usually just presented. It's a bunch of questions together. A lot of it is we want to make sure that it's right for you. And then we ask things, your basics, contact information, the sort of say pieces that you have are going to be what are your leadership accomplishments. We need to sort of understand where you are in your career. This is for mid-level women at the mid-level of their career. And so that means that and it's different almost for every company, like mid-level looks different at Brown Advisory than it does at NCIA, than it does at CQ, or it does it at Mother Mary Lang. So we'll ask about that. The sort of the essay portions are more about, and there's, let's not, I don't want to throw around the word essay and freak us all out. It's really short answer, but we want to get a better sense of what you want to get out of the program. We have some questions about what the mentoring, sort of what you want from your mentor, and are there particular industries or pieces, like if you feel so committed, like I need to have someone who's in the education sphere, or I want someone in a totally different industry. We want to know that going in. We'll also ask, you do need a recommendation letter from, if you are, these sessions are during the work day. So we want to get an understanding from your employer or someone in your world that, yep, you're going to, if your company's paying for it, we want to make sure that they're going to give you the time to actually come. And so we do look for a recommendation either from, your manager or someone in your company. If you're self-paying, then we just need a recommendation from someone in your world. But the program works best when everyone can participate. So definitely take that deep breath and look around and say, okay, can I make these dates? Can I make these time commitments? Because it's not going to benefit you or the rest of your cohort if you're not there participating. Does that answer your question, Lene? Yeah. Any other questions or thoughts? Yeah, Lisa.
For all the events and mentoring part of it, is that typically done in the Baltimore area?
Yes. So this year's mentee class is actually, in a weird twist of fate, kind of all clustered in the Towson area. So we have actually looked at, where we have things and have kind of leaned more towards the Towson area. In years past, we've had a much wider scattered space. So we've gone to various points to try and make it convenient for as many people as possible. We also sometimes where the mentees from various companies, like we have someone at the United Way this year. So next week, our March session is at the United Way. We usually start and end at the Center Club. So you'll never be going out to Frederick or to the Eastern Shore. We're in the greater Baltimore area, and we really just try and make it convenient for everyone. So some of it, we just gel a little bit based on where people are coming from.
Perfect, thank you.
Sure. What other questions are bubbling up for you all? Well, I'll leave you then just with the invitation to reach out to me whenever you like, if things come up or you have questions. My email address is Rebecca, REBECCA, @executivealliance.org. If you run into questions or problems, or you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do on this application, just call or email me and we can figure it out together. A lot of that application really is just to get a baseline to make sure that we can meet the needs that you have, and make sure that it's a good experience for everyone. I invite you all, if you want to come to our graduation, you're welcome to do that and see and support our new graduates. That'll be June 4th, I believe, this year. So that's a lot of fun. And as you navigate through that process, if you feel like this is right for me, but not this year, just let me know. Stay in the mix. It's perfectly fine. We want all women to succeed. And at the very least, I would hope that you would join us on May 7th for our In the Room mentoring session that's open to ambitious women of all levels. It's a great, fun day. Our celebrity mentor that day will be Ariana Kelly, who's the new executive director of the Maryland Commission for Women. And our mentors are drawn from, of course, our current mentee class, but primarily our membership. And so that's a breakfast event from 8:30 to 10:30 at the Pikesville Hilton. So I hope to see you there. And if there's anything else that you need, I'm here for you. So I hope you reach out.
You said that was May 7th or May 8th?
May 7th.
May 7th. Okay, thank
Mm-hmm.
That's a anyone can attend sort of thing.
Yep, it's a public event. It is a ticketed event. So if you know an Executive Alliance member, each one of them has a ticket for a protege. So this is now time to sidle up and say, hey, I know that you're going to invite someone, but you can certainly purchase tickets. I think they're $55 and join us. It's a public event. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming out and spending some time with me today. Are there any more questions before we?
One more administrative type thing. So the
Yeah.
program is 2,900, but is that separate and apart from the membership fee, or is that?
That's a great question. So membership is open to senior level executive women. So it is, if you're in the mentoring program, you're not a
Oh, there.
member. You can take advantage of some of the benefits of membership, like you're welcome to come to our signature events, it's and some other fun things, but you're not a member of Executive Alliance at that point. So it is separate. Now, some of our partners, for instance, Brown Advisory is a partner, CQ is a partner of ours. They get some discounted rates on tuition for the program. And so it's a little different, but you don't have to be a member of Executive Alliance to be part of the mentoring program.
When I'm looking at the website, I see there's a membership application. So that's different from, so where's the mentorship application?
So the mentorship application is at executivealliance.org/mentorship. And if you just scroll down, in fact, I'll share my screen real quick. It is about halfway down the page in a little blue box that says click here for the 25-26 cohort. And so all of the information that we went over is here on the program. There's fun pictures of mentee classes from the past, some benefits of the program, and then you can check out the cohorts as well. So we try and make our page as inclusive as possible, but if there's things that come up that you're not quite sure about, just let me know.
Thank you.
All right, great. Any other administrative or other questions?
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And I look forward to seeing you and hearing more from you. So stay in touch.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.